Good morning, everyone. So today we'll be in Ecclesiastes 5, and we're reading verses 1 through 7. And so it reads, "Walk prudently when you go to the house of God, and draw near to hear rather than give the sacrifice to fools, for they do not know that they do evil. Do not be rash with your mouth, and let not your heart utter anything hastily before God. For God is in heaven, you on earth. Therefore let your words be few, for a dream comes through much activity, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you have vowed. Better not to vow than to vow and not pay. Do not let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of God that it was an error. Why should God be angry at your excuse and destroy the work of your hands? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there is also vanity, but fear God." So, like most of this book, this passage is very applicable to today's world, and like most of the passages we covered so far and will continue to cover, and there's a lot more going on than we're going to cover in these brief videos, but the overall purpose of this passage is to say that it's not a good choice to make a promise, or as it says here, a vow, that you're going to do something and then not do it. And it's not saying, okay, it's okay to make a promise and then have something else come up and not do it because of that, because you still broke the promise. And the point here is, if you make a promise, you better do it, unless there is no physical way possible, at which point you shouldn't have made the promise in the first place. In verse 5, it specifically says, better not to vow than to vow and not pay. And that's really what a promise is. A promise is you're giving payment, or a promise of payment, without giving the payment at that point. It's like when you go and you get a new car and get financing, you are vowing to pay that cost yet in certain installments. Obviously, nowadays, if we do something with credit like that, it generally has very small repercussions for the long run reality. It's like, you don't make a car payment, they take the car back. Okay, that's not fun, but that's the way it works. You don't make the payment on your house, then they take your house back. But these things, promises, are against your character. And obviously, you can't repay your character once you've destroyed it for people. It's not something that's easy to do, nor probably impossible in many cases. And if you're making these vows and promises to God, then it's even that much harder to do. So, moving on from there, you also have the fool is known from his words. How many people do we have that talk and talk and talk and say little? It's a sign of being foolish. And chances are that they're not going to pay their vows when they make them. So, instead of talking a lot, trying to say little, and making vows that you can't keep, only talk when necessary, and only make vows that you can keep, and do it as soon as possible for when you do it. So please join with me in prayer this morning. Dear Lord in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for the little kids that are downstairs making lots of noise. And thank you that you are a great and mighty God. Thank you that you have seen fit to send your Son to die for us and to be our Savior. And thank you that you have shown grace and mercy to all of us so many times over through our lives. And thank you that you continue to do such for the world and for the nation as a whole. Please give guidance to our leaders and help them to understand and know the things they need to do and lead them through this time. We thank you for everything you've done. In your wonderful name I pray. Amen. So I'd like to encourage you to keep reading your Bible, keep focusing on what's going on with the Bible. Keep trying to grow in understanding and knowledge, and just pray God to give you the knowledge and wisdom that you need. Have a good day. Bye.